Hey, tribe, welcome back. Thanks for spending this hour with us tonight. We have a very interesting guest tonight, and I think you all are going to be pleasantly surprised. But before that, please go on and like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. That helps us keep our boots on the ground and us out in the field, being able to do more interviews and things like that. We have upcoming interviews that are going to be coming in from the field. So I think you all will be excited about those when we get those and are ready to share those. So let's hop right into it. Our guest tonight is Michael Kirkpatrick. Sorry about that. My voice just cut.
Hey, that's Michael. Right.
It's like all of a sudden right there.
Yeah, always happens, huh?
Right? Exactly.
Thanks for having me on. This is great.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for coming on and spending the time with us. You know, time is valuable, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
So, Michael, tell me how did you get into Bigfoot, cryptids, any of this?
I always had a fascination with it as a small child. Like Bigfoot was just kind of part of my life. My family was very kind of cool with weird stuff. They would talk about it. It wasn't something taboo.
Yeah.
But what really got me, I guess, what pushed me over the edge was when I was 12, I had a Thunderbird sighting in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And that's what really kind of like locked me into a more broader look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
It went from kind of just, I all really knew back then was Bigfoot and maybe Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
And that I didn't know anything about it. So I started doing research into it. And that's when I found out this whole other world. There's all kinds of things out there.
Well, okay. You opened the pot. I want to hear about the Thunderbird sighting.
Okay.
Let's start with that. Absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah. It was, I was living in Allport, Pennsylvania, which is like kind of central Pennsylvania area. It's not too far from State College. And it's a place I found out later on is well known for these types of sightings through us, like Stan Gordon, his research.
Yeah.
And, but I would go, we had a small fishing pond. It was man-made, and it was actually near my Little League baseball field that we'd practice on. So me and my friends, we'd go down to this pond and we would just go fishing for bluegills during the summer every day. But anytime we had free time, it was just something that me and my friends would just go do. And I was down there one day, and we were just fishing on the embankment. And my buddy, he wanted to try out a different lure. There was actually this big fish in there. It was a largemouth bass that we named Bob, and it was the biggest fish. To us, it was the biggest fish we've ever seen in our lives. It was just
right.
Amazing. And he would just break our poles, break our lines. You know, anytime we were fishing just for bluegill. Right. But when we saw him, we'd get all amped up. Like, oh, we got to try to catch this guy.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So he started running to his house to go get it, and he goes around the small pond. He kind of cuts around it, and he's running across this open field that's next to the baseball field. And my house was actually just up on the hill, a little bit further than that. And I'm just sitting there, and behind me is just a kind of a row of trees. And then there was kind of a creek bed behind that. Then it goes up a hill to like an apple orchard. And that was kind of on the hillside. So everything behind me was just like one single kind of row of trees. And they were kind of spaced out about 15 feet apart, 10, 15 feet apart, like tree to tree.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there and I hear something above me. It's like a rush. I just look up, and as soon as I look up, I see this giant silhouette of an eagle, just massive. And when I'm looking up, I'm looking at the trees beside it, and they're, like I said, 10, 15 feet apart. And its wings just went way out beyond that. So just massive. It came down right over top of me, and the embankment I was on was probably 5 feet above the water line where we were fishing. And it came so low just in front of me. It went over this pond. I could just see, I got it to where I was like looking right at it as it's flying away from me. And I watched it kind of soar over the pond. And to me, it was like an aircraft. Like, that's how large it was. It was so massive, beyond anything I've ever seen before. And my mom, coincidentally, was a breeder of birds. She like had African grays and parakeets. So I had a rough kind of idea of what birds existed. And so I watched this thing soar over, and it started kind of banking to the right, going over. And my buddy was running through that field. And in my head, I was going like, oh, I hope he's not going after him. So I started yelling, at least to look up at it or something. But he just kind of soared up, and he just kept going up in the air, and he flapped 3 times. It was just this like, and that's all it took. And he just took off, and he just flew out of sight. By the time I phone's attention and looked up, you couldn't distinguish the size of it. It had already kind of reached an altitude where it just kind of eagle. But that was it. So I ran up to the house and I went to my mom because, like I said, she was a bird breeder. So I asked her, like, what? I saw this like giant bird. I described how big it was. And she just told me, well, that doesn't exist. She's like, the largest one's like a golden eagle. And we don't have those up here. And I described the coloring to it. And she kind of couldn't name what it was, couldn't figure out what it was. So I ended up going to a library, which is, if there's any young people watching, it was a complex thing back in the day. There was no internet. So
right. We had to go look at books.
Yeah. And I mean, it was probably I'm sure the internet was in its most basic form. But yeah, so I went through there and I started getting these like small coffee table. What I could find on the topic was like small coffee table type mystery books, stuff like that. And I think there was a Stan Gordon book that had some case file book. I couldn't name it right now. But that's where I found the name Thunderbird. And then I saw a picture of one, and it was like a drawing of it, just a drawing of one, and it matched the description that I saw. What I saw was a very ugly looking color on it, like a very dark brown. It wasn't pretty in any way, but it had kind of white strips on all the ends of it. So just white, but and it also had a white ring around its neck. That was the only two colors I saw on it. And there was this drawing that someone had done, and it was exactly that. It was to a T what I saw. And that's kind of what kicked it off. I had no knowledge of it at all. And it kind of opened my mind to where I was just, oh, Bigfoot's like a cool thing. And then I found, oh, wait, no, there's other things out here. And
yeah, that would definitely be an eye opener.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that started. I always had a passion for the topic, and I always just kind of watched everything that was about it. I kept a fairly strong interest in it. Bigfoot always kind of had my heart, and but I think when I was about I kind of got out of it at one point. Like I kind of was like, wow, it's like a fake thing. And this was after I'd been hiking for years and years. I'd never seen anything, never came across any giant footprints. So I was kind of like, okay, well, it's just kind of a myth. And I'm like 30 something at this point in my life. And but then I had an incident that kind of
changed that for you.
Completely changed it. Yeah.
Well, tell us about that.
Okay, well, I guess we get into that.
We'll get into that now.
So the main area, I admittedly I haven't been there in a while because I've been very busy with these other projects I've been working on. But Uwharrie was a place I went to every weekend.
Oh yeah.
And I used to work construction, so I would work 4 days, and then I'd have off 3 days, which is perfect. There was a 40-mile trail. I would go up there, and I would just hike different trails every weekend. And one weekend I was up there, and it was before a hurricane was coming in. I can't remember if it was Florence or Matthews, but this I figured I'll get a little hike in for a couple of days before this hurricane blows through. So I go up there and I take some bridle trails in the Baden Lake recreation area, and I have a perfectly normal hike. It's really nice. It's a little bit, I'd say, above temperature for the season. So I hike up this mountain, I come down, and I actually camp along the Uwharrie River. And I had a very normal night. It was nice. I got up extra early that morning because I wanted to just get home early before the hurricane comes. And I wake up, pack my stuff up. And it's probably about 6:30 when I pack up. And probably around 7 o'clock is when, as I'm walking out, I finally get to the gravel Forest Service road. There's a car camping site off on the right. Right. And there was an older couple there, and they were just throwing their stuff in their truck. They had a car and a truck, and they were probably in their 60s, and they were just throwing stuff in there. And I walked by, and they kind of give me like a glare. I didn't know what was going on, but I thought, okay, well, maybe they live far away, and that hurricane, they'd have to get there before this hurricane. Yeah. So I didn't think much of it, and I hit the dirt. I hit the Forest Service road, and I started walking down it. And maybe like 5 minutes later, the older lady kind of pulls up in the car next to me, and the window winds down, and she goes, "Hey, are you the guy that was running past our camp all night last night?" And I said, "No, I wasn't." And she was like, "There was a guy, and he was running from the top of that mountain down past our camp to the river, and he did it 3 or 4 times." And I'm like, "That wasn't me." And I was like, "Did they have a headlamp on?" And she was like, "No." And then I asked what it looked like, and her husband was kind of pulling up behind her in the pickup truck, and she just kind of looked at me and was like, "Oh, it was dark." And but I don't know if she meant like it was too dark to see or if the figure was dark. And her husband kind of honked the horn, and she just took off and kind of left me there. And I stood there for like a minute looking at that mountain going like, well, I couldn't run up and down that thing. I'd kill myself in the middle of the night.
Right.
Very rocky. And I was like, at that moment, I just told myself, when this hurricane passes through, I'm coming back. I'm going to the top of that mountain. I'm going to camp out there. And that's what I did. I ended up coming back, a couple of days later after the storm had passed. I started off on the trail I had originally taken, but I took off on the right to go up the mountain. And this was a bridle trail, so it was dug very deep. It wasn't like a hiking trail.
Right.
There was very deep ruts in it. And when I got up to about the closest to the peak of the area, I got off of that and I started walking around. And this is where I came across my first like unexplainable tree structure. It was a very classic, just teepee. Each tree was probably like 20, 25 feet long, not particularly like huge, thick wise, but like maybe like the size like my leg or arm, but they were all tied in together. And I couldn't find the stumps for any of them. I went, okay, well, this is some Bigfootery stuff, like I was aware of, like, I would listen to Sasquatch Chronicles. Like I was aware of like some of the lore.
Right.
And I kind of worked up to the spot where I was wanting to check out because it had very thick foliage all around it. So I figured if I was trying to hide, I would hang out in this thicker area. And when I get up there, I see this log laying across, and I can see there's a big chunk taken out of the top of it, like something had just kind of hit it. And when I walked up to it, there was just there it was a perfect Bigfoot footprint. It was just there. And I took pictures of all this, and but yeah, I saw this footprint, and it was one that was just perfect. And then right ahead was like one that you kind of could make out, but it's almost like he hit his foot on the log, came down hard, and then just kind of tapered off again. So then also in that same exact area, right by that was a row of trees, and each one of them, there was like 5 of them. They were broken off at about 8.5 foot, 9 foot at the top, and it was perfectly down the row. And I did what I said I was going to do. I put my tent right there, and I camped out. And that was a nervous night, but I got to admit nothing really happened. But it was a nerve-wracking night. The only thing that strange happened was the next morning. I get up and I make some coffee. I'm kind of standing around. I pack up my stuff, and before I'm about to leave, I'm just kind of standing there, just admiring the area. And I hear like a hoof, like a, and my brain would said, "Oh, that's like a deer." It's what it kind of registered as, like a deer hoof. And I started looking around, and it didn't sound far away, and it wasn't necessarily a thick area that it came from. I didn't see nothing, and I just said, this is where it gets a little bit wooey, where my brain just immediately went, "Okay, let's go." And I left, and I didn't think about it till I hiked back down to the car. And it wasn't until I slammed my trunk down after putting my bags in there, my brain just went like, "Why didn't you investigate that? Like, why did you just walk away?" And I don't know if that's just yeah. It was like, wait a minute, you came all this way, you did all this, you heard something, you didn't even walk over to it. I stood for 3 seconds, I looked over there, and I was like, okay, no time to go, as if it was nothing. So that really kind of like greased the wheels for me to get really into this.
Yeah. So let me ask you: Have you had a Class A sighting?
I've never had a Class A sighting of a Sasquatch. I've definitely had like where you see something kind of in the corner of your eye move real fast. I've had those kind of experiences, but I've never actually seen one. And that's something like I'm really hoping to do. And that's what drives me. I don't doubt that they're out there. It's just I think it's just kind of like playing a game with me. I think I just have to keep working at it, and then maybe one day, and hopefully I can share it with the world. Right. Together.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, yeah, it kind of becomes, it's like an addiction, you're just hooked on it because it's like, okay, well, maybe this time, if we go this time, works a little different for me because like you as a child, I've been fascinated with Bigfoot, Loch Ness, all that for years, watched everything that was on TV. You get to a point and it's like, okay, I have a family. I've kind of moved away from it. And then I get back into it. And I went on a BFRO expedition.
Okay.
And first night out, not knowing anything, had a Class A sighting.
Wow.
Yeah. And I turned and looked at my husband and said, I will do this until I can no longer do this.
Yeah.
Because I know they're out there now, Yeah. And it changes you. It changes how you look at things. It changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think so now I'm just like, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think once you have that breakthrough, when you see something that shouldn't exist, I think that actually kind of like opens you up. It kind of, people like to call it like getting marked or something, but I often think back to that like Thunderbird side. And like, I think I was marked at that point. Like there was something that kind of made me more susceptible to these types of things.
Yeah.
And I hear that from other people.
And you said your family was open-minded,
Oh
like
yeah.
to talk about weird things. I think that helps a lot.
Mhm.
If you have a family that doesn't poo-poo that kind of stuff, when you're a kid, and it allows you to grow up and be an open-minded adult, it's like we don't have to put everything in a box like a lot of people do. And
Mhm.
that's where a lot of people have the hardest time with it is it doesn't fit in their box.
Oh yeah. Like after my grandfather passed away, we moved into his house. It was just across. It was literally just across the street. My dad actually built two homes at the same time. He moved into one. He put his parents in the other one. After they passed away, we moved down into that house, and my grandfather haunted that basement. He would go down there in late at night when he was alive, and he would use the bathroom. There was a bar down there. It was Pennsylvania. Everyone has a bar in their basement for some reason.
Right.
So he'd go down and he'd hang out. And after he passed away, we moved in there. You'd hear him down there. He'd flush the toilet. And so it was one of those things where my family couldn't deny that there were strange things in this world.
Right. I hear you. Oh yeah. I've always had strange things going on. So to get into this, it's not that big of a stretch for me.
Yeah.
I say I have found my people, my tribe. We all like the weird things.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you kind of have to be open to everything if you open to one thing. Oh, maybe not. That may not be kind of a bit of a dictator, but like I feel like if you got to be kind of open to it all because like we don't know what's all out there.
Absolutely. I mean, there are things, I'm like, for the longest time, it's just been Bigfoot, it's just been Bigfoot. And I've kind of gotten like drug into other holes.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a willing participant. So, I'm like last spring we had a UAP incident that went on for 2 hours.
Wow, that's incredible.
And like 15 people saw it. Well, there's no denying that, and most of them videoed it, okay. I'm like, we're not here for this. We're not here for this.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. Yeah. Well.
That's the other thing too. It's like you go looking for one thing and then something else happens. You can't just ignore that. And then,
well, like we told you earlier, we went last September to the LBL. Yeah. There was some weird stuff that happened there, and I'm like, dog man.
Very interesting place.
I was like, well, we had something in the cemetery, we had like a dome of silence right on the lake,
oh, yeah.
Just different stuff. And it was like, all right, that's it. We're coming back.
Yeah. The dome of silence is something that really fascinates me. I've had it happen to me several times. And luckily we got it. The problem with the dome of silence though, like when you film it happening, it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like
right.
It's hard to translate exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We try to do our best, but we had that incident happen in Morris Mountain. For people who might not know, I'm a field producer for Wildman Holler. We worked on a project called Monster on Morris Mountain, and it's a very local legend up there. That's how we first met and all that with Wildman Holler. And we were exploring an area, and we had that happen where we had heard some vocalizations, and as we were kind of coming out, we could hear a creak, we could hear bugs and everything. Then all of a sudden, it just cut off, and like the atmosphere became electric, like our hair's raising up, and I'm glad that I guess we caught it on camera. But like I said, it's not really something that the general audience is going to like be able to understand exactly.
It is. It's like you have to be experiencing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really translate well. And we were lucky enough that there was 6 of us that it was happening to all of us.
And that's one of the things I've been very grateful for. I've always experienced stuff by myself. And now that I'm actually like working with people and we're going out there, it's nice to have somebody else see weird or hear weird stuff with you. And you go like, okay, I'm not crazy. It's at least a mass hallucination. It's at least not just me.
Right, we're all crazy.
Yeah, we're all crazy. All right. So yeah.
Absolutely.
We had a lot of none of this is in the documentary, but we had a very strange like light moving through the woods sighting that was very quick, and I saw it with Jessie Dole, and it was while her husband Joe was looking at a hot spot on top of a ridge line. We don't know what that was, but he was saying that he was looking at something, and we had both looked up, and we saw what looked like the only thing that we could describe it as was like how did I say it? It was like a stingray. It was like a light stingray, if that makes any sense. And it shot between trees. And, We both saw it. We both just jumped up. We were like, "Oh, what was that? What was that?" And then Joe was over there at the thermal. He thought we saw something. It was a very exciting moment. But then that was like a moment where it's like, okay, I saw something weird, and somebody else saw it with me, and that was very comforting too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. When you have a group of people out there like that and multiple people are seeing the same thing. Yes.
Mhm.
It validates you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this person, this person saw it too.
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't talk about that one because it's not on film, but we
Right.
try to keep things. We try to talk about things that we captured. We don't want to.
Right.
We don't want to get caught like telling big fish stories. We do kind of want to do our best to try to like actually document this stuff.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Well, and I understand that completely. I lead the BFRO expeditions for Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And we go out with groups of people, and we're always talking about this stuff. And it's like sometimes we've been able to document it and sometimes we haven't because it
yeah,
just happens so fast that you're like,
absolutely,
there's no
absolutely.
time.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the hardest things about filming these documentaries. It's like those hundreds of hours of footage that poor Halbert Holler has to go through and get it
Mhm.
all out because if the camera, if nothing's running, it like you said, it happens so fast. You
Yeah.
just can't get it, even with a camera right next to you. If it's happening, we got 2
Yeah,
seconds.
it's done and over with by the time you grab the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, it's tough. It's really
It
hard.
is. It is. Same with your audio. It's like you got to turn that on before you ever get out of the vehicle
Yeah,
because as sure as you're standing out there fumbling with it, that's when you're going to hear it.
yeah, and that's one of the more complex aspects of doing these documentaries is that they use something called a super sound stick, and it's a shotgun mic onto a I don't want to give away their secret to the sauce. I won't go get to exact specifications, but it's basically a directional microphone with a
Mhm.
recorder that can handle like very high gain. So you can amp it up to crazy. You can hear someone walking 3 football fields away. You could hear them stepping on the grass. But with that comes like a lot of noise. It's a give and take. It's like if
Yeah.
something's yelling, everyone has to stop at the same time. So there's so many times where we're just walking through the woods. You hear something. It's like freeze tag. You just see everyone just and then someone's pointing that, and you just hope you get something of it. And
Right.
that's been the most, like I would say, from my experience, I'm just speaking for myself. I think that's probably one of the most successful kind of pieces of equipment that we're able to use. Is
Mhm.
capturing that. And recently, in our most recent documentary that just came out, Sasquatch of the Sumter, we were able to catch like that metal door slamming sound that people have always talked about.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so that was and another thing too, when it happens, you just pray that like the audio recording doesn't mess up or something. So when she finally got it home, she pulled it out and she played it and we heard it. We were like, thank God. We were like, we got it. So that was probably one of the most rewarding things we've ever, for me at least, we've ever
Yeah.
recorded.
Yeah. When your audio messes up, that's the worst thing because usually it's on something you think's pretty good.
Mhm.
But then there's the odd thing of we were all camping last fall and there was a definite screaming going on that none of the recorders picked up.
Mm.
Now, the people in camp could hear it. Several of us ladies had gone to the top of the hill and they thought we were screaming. And when we came back, they're like, what were y'all screaming about? And we're like, we weren't screaming. And they checked all the recorders. Nothing picked it up.
Wow. Yeah, because there's something Joe Doll has actually theorized that, and I agree with him. Sort of like with the zapping phenomenon and other things. Some things we might hear a sound, but they might actually be like an electromagnetic pulse or some sort of like EMP, something that isn't actually a sound, but it's just your brain is converting it into a sound. It's actually called I believe it's called the Frey effect. And
okay.
when they first developed radar installations, when we first kind of were developing that, we didn't realize the dangers of it. And people who were working on it would start hearing voices in their head. They would start having sicknesses, getting hot, cold, and all that. And then it was later discovered, well, yeah, these radio waves being shot out are actually messing with you. So it's not a sound wave like we traditionally know, but it's actually producing something else. And that's kind of one of the theories that we toss around. If something like that's happening, where we don't record something. Now there's another phenomenon too, where it seems to be able to shut down equipment, and not only that, but manipulate the equipment itself. We've had cameras completely reset themselves, that all the settings just change in the middle of shooting something. and it only does it once out on an investigation, and it will never do it again.
Yeah.
And strange stuff like that. And one thing that drives us nuts is the batteries dying. And it's not like they decharge a battery. It's like they kill the battery. Like it's just done now.
It's gone. Yeah.
So I can't imagine how many batteries we've gone through.
Yeah.
Since I've been working with them, it's insane.
Yeah.
And they're not cheap batteries. They're like Sony name brand batteries. It's not like we're getting like cheap TMU stuff. It's quality. Right. And what's fascinating to me, I used to be an electrician, is that like a battery contains energy. It has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. It can't just drain out. The energy has to be expelled. So what happened? Where did that energy go?
Yeah. 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 When you have a whole package of batteries that should be good, and it's like, where'd it go? What happened to all that?
There's energy in there.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had a little bit of that, like the batteries on the recorders go dead, that kind of stuff, when they were brand new when you put them in and they were good to go. So we've had that kind of too. Yeah. On
several occasions, we had the thermal batteries. I've seen them. They're fully charged. We test them, pack them up in 10 minutes. We get out there, we start walking to the location, you pull out and it's dead. And it's like, and thermal seems to be, I think, the most effective, but unfortunately, it seems to also, I don't know, anytime we get to a situation where it feels like it's very active, and maybe we had an incident on the Sumter shoot where it was around camp and it was getting a little bit too much. When we pulled out the thermal to start scanning, then it completely subsided. So I don't know if it is a passive technology. It is just picking up radiant heat. So that might be something they kind of like, it's good in the sense that like if you can capture footage with it, it's fantastic. But it's also something where I think it might be too big of a gun. They just leave. And that's kind of been, at least once or twice, that's been the experience, is that like it seems to actually like make the phenomenon die down, at least go away.
Yeah. Well, we had a gentleman who he got out on the top of the hill, and we drove on down. He was going to sit up and watch us kind of mingle around the river. And he was at the time probably kind of skeptical, right? And so he's sitting up there and he can hear movement on either side of him. He's a hunter, so he knows, he knows his sounds and things like that. He's also a police officer. So he's trained. He's, he's going to pay attention, all these things. And it got to the point he moved up and actually got inside of 3 large rocks that were sitting, kind of positioned himself in there. And we got tickled at him because we all kind of have had our experiences and we know, right? And he's kind of, whatever, The last thing that we heard from him was, I am coming straight to you. He ran down the side of the hill. Oh, wow. It was a timber. I mean, he came bailing off that hill because he said, I kept shooting my therm out there and there was nothing. He said, I could hear the footsteps. I could hear the movement. And I'm not picking up anything. And it freaked him out so bad, he came running down the hill back to us. And we're kind of giggling at him, we're like, see, there you go. And he's like, well, I know there's something there now, but I just can't get it.
Yeah. I mean, this is what's so fascinating with this whole phenomenon, is that how much equipment it really takes, how many different things you kind of need to go and it seems to kind of always want to slip by there. The most fascinating thing is like, I don't know why it even tries to interact with us. Why does it even start to begin with when it doesn't even want to present itself?
Yeah. It's like, if you don't want to be recorded, why are you messing with us?
Yeah, exactly. If you're elusive, why are you outside camp? Like, I don't
right.
Really
yeah, exactly.
It's a very strange phenomenon. I learned, someone who interested me a lot was John Keel, who wrote the Mothman Prophecies. And he's kind of said that like, it's almost strange for the sake of being strange. And I kind of subscribe to that theory. I think whatever this is coming through the other side, whatever it is, avail. I'm a little bit woo, by the way, but I'm not against flesh and blood either. I'm very open to the idea that it could be like a relic hominid, an actual physical relic hominid walking around. But it's almost like it's designed just to mess with us. And some people call it the trickster element and things like that. And I've certainly experienced the trickster kind of thing going on. I think that's something different entirely, but it's definitely a real phenomenon, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like for us, the more time that we spend in the woods, the more questions we have.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't answer anything.
Yeah. You get little pieces of it and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you come out going, what? Wait a minute. That made that didn't answer anything. That just brought up another question.
Oh, yeah.
Because, we're seeing more and more light phenomenon,
Yeah.
on a regular basis. Just the weird things that go on, the things that we're therming. We had an expedition in Arkansas, and I had 2 different people therm what they said had like a fairy shape.
Oh, wow.
And 2 different nights. And then we had some local people come through telling us just some of their Bigfoot things, right? Mm-hmm. And the husband looked at the wife and said, now tell them the weird stuff, which I'm laughing because he's been telling me all these Bigfoot stories, but that's not weird.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Right? And so the wife starts telling this story because they're ATVers. They're out at all hours riding, right?
Yeah.
And she said one night they were out riding. It was about 1 a.m. And she said it was like time stopped. And this thing flies in front of them, turns and looks at him, has a face, a human body, and wings. And they were like, it was a fairy.
Yeah.
And
we take the fairy seriously, although we don't say it when we're out there, because it's a phenomenon that has been going on for 1,000 years or even longer, if not. So it's odd. It's almost like there's a whole other hidden world of beings that kind of like peek through or interact with us. We're kind of trying to find out where they're coming through at. Like, is it like John Keel mentioned, like window areas? Mm-hmm. That's kind of like what we look for, is get to those locations. And you got to go into things, like you said earlier, you can't be in a box. There's no box. We don't know what's out there. Yeah. But it's definitely as real as you and me. It's a very real phenomenon. Absolutely. And I've always said that everyone on Earth has experienced some sort of strange, whether or not they want to admit it or not. But everybody's got some weird experience, something that's just is unexplainable that's happened to them. It's just that matter if you're going to actually like acknowledge that, or if you're going to kind of put it away.
Yeah, and that's it. Sometimes people don't want to talk about it.
And most people do. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like we said, doesn't fit in that box. They can't explain it, so they don't want to talk about it. And if they don't talk about it, then it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. And for them, it won't. It might cut you off. But then every once in a while, you get someone who doesn't believe in this stuff, and they do experience it.
I love taking people out who don't believe in it, and they have something happen, because they come back. Their eyes are huge, and they're like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They're fun. They're fun. So tell me some more strange experiences you've had.
Up in the Uwaris, that's like I said, that's where I spent most of my time. I would, I noticed I would only have something strange happen about every 3 years, and then at some point it started kind of ramping up. But there was a Halloween night where I wanted to go camping, as you do, into an old cemetery that's hidden back in the woods. I thought, this would be fun, and I was just by myself. I go out there. And it's called Bingham Cemetery. You can check it out. It's not too bad of a hike either. I took the long way around, but there's actually a short way you can get into it. And it's just like 2 miles. Not even that. I think it's like 1.25 miles, actually. But so I take a nice hike during that day, and I set up at Bingham. And again, like, I'm still kind of in the Bigfoot mode of things. Like, I'm kind of like, and I'm just playing around. I'm just camping in a cemetery. I'm having fun.
Right.
And I set up my hammock, and I'm between some trees, and the cemetery's in front of me. And the trail I came in on is over to the right of me. And I'm actually taking sunset photos, and I got my phone out. I got on a night shot. I'm just snapping away, and I see a light come over the hood, like the hill where the trail came over. And I thought it was a hiker with a headlamp on, so I didn't think much of it. And up there's actually another little cutoff trail that just goes a little bit, and it's a Boy Scout camps around there. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was someone looking for either the cemetery or the camp. And I take notice of it, but I go back to taking pictures of it, and this light kind of keeps moving around. I'm like, well, that's odd. He's not either. He needs to make up his mind. I don't know what he's doing. Then I thought maybe he's just scared to come down here, whatever.
Right.
And then I start seeing it come down, and it gets close enough to where I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go say hi to this person. So I put my headlamp on, And I had my phone in my hand. I just set it down. I walk over and I'm walking up to this light, and it's like a head, like the size of a headlamp, and it's kind of the same color. It's that kind of bluish hue. And I'm
Yeah.
walking up to it, and as I get from 10 feet to it, I shut off my headlamp so not to blind the person. I go, "Hey, what's going on?" And it's just a light. I can see the woods all around it, and then I realized, like, oh, it's what it looked like was. Did you ever see that Norwegian vortex in the sky? That
I
little
think I have.
swirly thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I think
looked
I
like
have.
that, but compact, and it was just
Okay.
floating, and it kind
Mm.
of wobbled a little bit, and I'm looking at it, and I get the sense it's looking at me, even though it's just a light. I don't know, I don't know, and it just
Right.
kind of it starts float, then it just floats away, and it starts going down an old logging road. It only goes maybe 15 feet, and then just kind of just flutters out. I had no clue what that was. I've heard of orbs and all that, but again, like I had no clue. I was shocked. I mean, I was just again, I had my phone in my hand. I was taking pictures. The app's open, and
Hmm.
that never even entered my brain. I mean, I was just like,
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. I get it. We've done the same thing. You can't believe what you're seeing, and your brain's just like it just does a
yeah, like,
you know. Yeah. It's so nothing's happening. I mean, yeah,
and then
exactly.
that's what I started looking into orbs more because people have said they've seen Sasquatches turn to orbs. I can't say if that's what it was or not, but it was definitely something where I feel like I don't know if it's like because you think there should be a connection because they're in the same sightings are in the same areas, but it's just kind of like I don't know, maybe think like did some yeah, you have to sit there and wonder. I'm a grown man, but I'm going like, did a Bigfoot turn into an orb to sneak by me? Like, is that what happened? Or
Yeah,
who knows? It's so strange.
it is. And I mean, I tell people I don't necessarily equate the two together. I say, we're out Bigfooting, but we've seen orbs.
Yeah.
If we weren't out Bigfooting, we might have still seen the orbs if we were just in that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've seen them multiple times, multiple places. It's not uncommon for our group to see them anymore, and we're kind of, if we don't see them, are like, well, what happened? Where were the lights this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, whether it's a Bigfoot thing or not, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Now, another interesting thing about that area is that oftentimes the trail cleanup will find like signs of occult stuff going on, like candles and stuff like that in that
Mhm.
area. So that's another aspect. That's a whole other aspect too. Is something getting summoned in there, and that's something you have to take into account too. Like,
Yeah.
is this stuff being brought in? Is it
Mhm.
coming in or is it being brought in? Is it being
Right, right, because you don't know what they're doing when they're out there.
yeah, you really don't. I mean, one time the trail cleanup crew cleaned up, I think, 28 pounds worth of candles from that
Oh my
pit.
gosh.
But imagine, like, someone was dedicated enough to carry it would have been more weight when they took it
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
50 pounds of candles, like, who knows? Like, that's dedication.
Here's your initiation into the cult. You're going to carry 50
Yeah.
pounds of candles up the hill.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild stuff goes on out there. I love it. I
Right.
love exploring this stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, and too, most people anymore, they're not out in the woods. They're go to work, go home, and their face is buried in a computer or a phone or the TV. And the things that used to be natural to us because we were out all the time are not natural anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that we kind of hope is kind of a side quest. Is we hope that we make things more interesting, where people want to go outside more, and like
Mhm.
conservancy too. Like taking care of these lands is like super important to us, and making sure that it's respected and everything's cleaned up. And that was
Right.
something I was very shocked at by the LBL. I had always seen, I've watched tons of videos on it, and over the years I've seen a lot of trash and there, like in previous videos. We went up there and it was very well maintained. And the administration staff was amazing. And so it was kind of it's weird. It's like it's even like Jesse and Joe, and I think they said they'd been there about 2 years prior to that. They had been going there for years and years. They said this is the nicest it's ever been. And so it's good that like people are keeping up with it now, at least in the
Mhm.
land between the lakes like area. And
Yeah,
you always had a very dedicated trail maintenance crew
that's
and all
good.
that. So we do
Yeah.
try to like kind of we hope that people go out more watching our stuff. It should get you excited. It should like motivate you to go out. We hope.
Right, right.
People need to. It's part of human nature. You should be outside. You should be breathing that fresh air.
Mhm.
No, you should be kind of getting scared once in a while. It's good for the soul. No?
Right?
Yeah.
I
That's
think
the
we've
spice
turned
of life,
into
you know?
yeah, we've turned into adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. That's why I like
Yeah.
working with them so much. We're all kind of adrenaline junkies to a degree. You know what I mean? We do like the excitement. So
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
vibe very well.
And it's funny too because you'll be walking along out there, and we'll walk along a lot of times with no lights. We'll go dark,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And walk through the woods. And when you tell people you do that, they look at you and go, "What is wrong with you?" And it's like, don't knock it till you try it. It's actually quite a rush to walk through the woods at night in the dark.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were, man, tell me so many times. One of the things that we've been focusing on a lot just in the last couple of documentaries has been ravines, old mines, like subterranean kind of areas,
Mhm.
and walking through that stuff at night, especially like in the Sumter dock we were going through, where it was the product of a bad sharecropping, where these giant ruts were dug out. So you're in these canyons that are just 20 feet, 30 feet around you, and they're very tight.
Mhm.
And it's so unworldly to be walking through that. And yeah, we do the same thing. We usually go with no lights, and then unless we have to get over something, then a light pops on. But for the most part, we're cutting the lights off, and it's just the night vision camera filming us. And you walking through that, it sounds crazy and it's scary, but it's fun. Like, yeah, don't knock it till you try it.
Right?
It's good time.
Absolutely. Well, and so here in Missouri, we don't have wild hogs too bad yet. We have a few mountain lions, but not real bad. We have a few black bears, So it's like we can go out and walk around and not have to therm a whole lot, right? You
Mhm.
know, I got like I said, I got a real education last fall when we were in the LBL because of the wild hogs. I did not, for whatever reason, it didn't dawn on me. There were hogs, and there's bear, and they even said they have wolves, and I'm like, okay, y'all didn't tell me this before we came down.
Yeah, we did. Sometimes we leave some information out, no need for that. Well, there was a
Well,
funny
it's really
moment.
funny.
There was a funny moment in the Sumter documentary where we're going out and it's an old bombing range.
Uh-huh.
Me and Jesse do some research on the side. We all do, all three of us. But for somehow this slipped through the cracks that there was unexploded ordnance in this area.
Oh, geez.
So at one point, Joe's like, "Is there unexploded ordnances?" I mean, Jesse looked at each other. We were like, "Oh no, we forgot to tell him." We were like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "When were you guys going to tell me?"
Like, well,
now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you got to spice it up a little bit, right?
You got to accept some danger. You gotta
Right.
accept
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I hear that. But yeah, it's fun doing that kind of stuff. I mean, we have a core group of people, and we get to the point where we're like texting, going, "I am about to go stir crazy. I'm ready for the woods." You get to that point where you're out there for so much of the time.
I mean, technically, I'm not done. I haven't stopped yet moving, but we've gone for 7 days straight, and we were going 12 hours a day.
Mhm.
We were walking through marshy fields out there, everything. Yeah, it's really exhausting, but you get that rush. You just want to keep going. I'm ready to go back. I'm going to sleep for a couple hours. I'm good. I can go back.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of like us. We usually do 3 to 4 days at a time, right? And it's like on the way home, bless my husband, I crash. I'm just because
Yeah.
I've been up and going and doing, and by the time we get in the truck and head home, I'm the one that's just crashed, and I'm that way for a couple of days, and then I'm like, oh, let's go back.
Let's do it again.
Let's go.
Let's go again.
Yeah,
I guarantee I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go like, man, I wish I was getting back up to go ready to go do this.
right. Yeah, I hate it when we have to pack up and we're done. It's like, seriously, we have to go back to the real world.
Yeah. This morning was like particularly bittersweet. We invited somebody else along. He's got a channel called Surviving the Strange on Rumble.
Mhm.
Great guy. He joined us for this adventure, and it was like bittersweet. Like, oh man, we got a new friend. He fit right in. It's like he's been there the entire time. And
Mhm.
Yeah, it sucks, man. You have to go. You're like, we're hugging each other. It's all gone. It's like, okay. Well.
Yeah.
But now I do have to go back. We're starting another one in 2 weeks. So we'll be back. And I'll be tired and exhausted.
Absolutely. Well, and we all laugh and say, okay, we're out looking for Bigfoot or this or that or whatever. But you know what it really comes back down to is all the wonderful relationships you develop.
Sure, yeah.
Because, I wouldn't have known most of the people that are in my life right now if I hadn't gotten into Bigfooting. They just, there's so many different walks of life of these people that you meet. And it's people that you can talk to about anything, any strange.
You're talking about Bigfoot. You can kind of talk about anything.
Right?
Everything's on the table at this point. Another fascinating aspect too is people who I've known my whole life, at least just like acquaintances, who when they see that you're doing something like this, they start coming at you with stories and they start opening up to you. I think that's something that always surprised me. I had a coworker when I was a machinist. He just noticed I was listening to some Bigfoot podcast, and he kind of like made a joke, like, "Oh, you actually believe that stuff?" And then after like the shift was changed, and he came up to me and he was like, he had a family reunion, and he had some cedar trees, and a giant one just kind of peeked through, and his whole family saw it. 12 people saw it, and it was a newly developed home. It was like new land, like they had just removed the forest.
Okay. Yeah.
And, he was wanting me to go out there and investigate it, and I was like, I'll go check it out. But, yeah, so it's interesting, like what it brings out of people, and you never know who's had an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Because they won't have told their family a lot of the time.
Most people don't. And I know what, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Like this is wild, But yeah, I mean, some people's, you can't talk about it. They got careers where like you will be judged on it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because when my kids found out we were going on an expedition, they were like, have you lost your mind? We know that you.
Yeah. I've always heard great things about the BFRO expeditions. I've met so many people who said like they've had experiences, seen them, everything on those. So it sounds like they actually have like a really good, because they don't tell people where they're going, right? To you, like there, right?
No, we don't tell people where we're going. We give them a general area, and then usually, personally, about 30 days out is when I tell them where they're going. But at that point, I've had conversations with them. They have to sign non-disclosures, that kind of stuff. We have a process that we go through, and usually about 30 days out from an expedition, we tell them where we're going.
Interesting. It's good that you guys do that, just to mitigate, any wrongdoing.
Yeah. Well, and like there's a fee to go with us, and we look at it like this. If they're willing to pay that fee, they're probably not hoaxing things.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least put some sort of barrier to entry.
Yeah, exactly. Because people that want to hoax, I'm sure, you'd never say 100%, or absolutely they're not going to do it. They can, but that does help deter it. And, we enjoy, we have a really good time when we go out, but when it gets time to, something happens, we're like, okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great to hear.
But yeah.
BFRO was one of the first groups I ever came across when I was looking into Bigfoot. I remember their website from 2004. Like that's how, I think that's when I kind of came across it. And I actually printed off at the time I was living in North Carolina, so I printed off every possible report from North Carolina. I had like a map that I would pin on the BFRO.
Marked it all on? Yeah.
I never got in with them though. I never really, I met a few people that are with them, but I think they do great work.
Yep. Yeah. People are varied in their opinion. There's some people that have had very bad experience. Other people love them, and what people don't understand.
A lot of that's more personal stuff too. There's bad apples and everything. So
Exactly. And not every person in the BFRO investigates the same, because initially they're independent contractors per se. They go out and investigate these things how they see fit, and so there are people that have had, bad experience, and I hate to hear that, because we want everybody to have a good experience because we want them to tell the story, tell us what happened type of deal. So
absolutely.
But yeah, so it sounds like you're quite the busy man. What's the latest thing that's going to be coming out from what you guys have been doing?
Oh, I don't know if I can say it's top secret. I think I have an NDA. I don't think I can say that. Um, and the LBL stuff's so recent right now, so I really can't talk too much about that. But I will say that there were some very interesting audio captures. We're not done out there. We'll be returning out there.
Mhm.
It's going to be a big one. LBL is such an important area, so
Yeah.
it's going to get its due for that. URI 2 is supposed to be scheduled. I guess I should say that if you want to watch any of the documentaries, they're on Small Town Monsters. They're produced by Hal Ben Holler. That's who I work with. And you can check out their
Mhm.
website, their YouTube channel too, Hal Ben Holler. But Small Town Monsters, the first thing we did was Monster on Morris Mountain, and that's all about the URIs. And the second one just recently came out, just last week, and that's Sasquatch at the Sumter. And that one's really high speed. That was you actually get I was originally supposed to just pop in for an interview on Morris Mountain, and then I just didn't leave. like we just became friends, and I just stayed. And
just stayed, yeah. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess we'll just hang out now. But I love Morris Mountain. I love it because it's kind of captured that little moment in time where it's like, oh, this is where we all first met and all that.
Mhm.
In other words, I'm interviewed and all that, but in Morris Mountain and Sumter, we just hit the ground running. We've already known each other. So it just has a completely different feel to it, and it's very fast paced. When we move through the woods, we follow things. People get on us a lot about not taking samples or making cast, but I don't have a laboratory to send any of this. You know what I mean? That. It's the way we're perceiving what we're doing is we're pursuing something. So, we just can't stop. We have to keep moving forward. And Sumter, it was just, I love that documentary. I was so impressed with how it came out. It really captured what we went through. And that was, and again, we usually do months worth of filming. And then it's, poor Jesse has to edit down 120 hours worth of footage and make it a nice, neat 2 hours, hour and 30 minutes. But it's so fast paced. It drives us nuts. And we'll read the comments and well, you guys are always talking. It's we don't show the parts where we're quiet.
Right.
Fun. If you want to watch me sit in the woods for an hour, we have that footage. We have hours. I'll send it to you. You can watch me sit there and do nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's a fun thing. We just hope people, we try to make it entertaining so people can get into it. And we put a lot of work into trying to capture it.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I mean, it's fun, but because we started trying to document, film a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And I've got a gentleman and he's like, I've got 80 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you going to do with that? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's at least they're not faking it, because he would just do it in an hour and you'd be done. You could just go home then.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would I put myself through all this?
Right. He's like, and every time I watch it, I see something different.
And that's the other thing too. And that's what's wonderful. I first became a fan of Hal Ben Holler probably 6 years ago. And it was because of their LBL series and all that. And but it's really cultivated a great audience where they find stuff that you don't see in the footage. You don't see what we didn't see, but then oh, there's a figure moving through the woods. And we'll go back there and check and oh yeah, you see something kind of moving through there. A lot of interesting stuff. So it's nice to be able to put out in the world and then have people interact and be it's sort of interactive. You look, there might be something there. I can't say there isn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've had that before. The gentleman I was just talking about, he had videoed this deer and you see the deer eyes, which kind of, you're thinking, oh, what is that? Because you can't see anything but this set of eyes. He could see the deer. But then as we were playing it on something, you could see this big figure in the background back there moving around. And he's like, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean, these things are sneaky.
Yeah.
They're sneaky. They seem to be able to just the ultimate stealth. That's another thing too. People always get us on about. They're like, you guys are too loud. We can't sneak up on this. This is not the game we're playing.
No.
So people always say hey, you need to be more quiet. It's well, we're not. We don't have any disillusion that we're going to sneak up on this thing. There's no. So we really just hope that we just move through the woods at least such pace that it just wants. We were hoping that it's curious and comes in. That's what we want. That's. Yeah. And it seems to be somewhat the times where it seems like it gets closest to us is when we're just casually talking. And we've tried this before where we hear something like a woot or a tree knock. We'll ignore it and we'll just keep talking casually. We'll laugh. They seem to like laughter, we're laughing and kind of checking around. And we'll get it come in closer. That seems to actually work. That happened on Morse Mountain. Morse Mountain is a really fascinating. I think for me, it's probably one of the best audio captures ever of the phenomenon. It's on the level of like the Ohio yells, in my opinion, because never has anyone captured audio, then got into a truck, chased that audio via directional mic. It traveled 2.5 miles in minutes, and they kept it on audio. It's like, what is that? That's not a wolf. That's not anything else.
Right.
It's something different. So it's really does me like proud of it makes me feel proud when like you can actually get somewhere like try to explain that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tough one right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And to hear it like that, we did not chase it, but we had audio that went on for about 30 minutes and it was moving around us. It was far away from us, but it was this mournful yell, and you could hear it like go down in the valley and back up on top of the hill because it would change. And we're recording it and we're sitting still, and it moved almost completely around us in a 30-minute period. You know, it traveled several miles in that 30 minutes. And, you know, we're going through, okay, what could this be? You know, we're trying to figure this out, all the things. And one of the gentlemen, he has dogs that they coyote hunt, right? And, you know, and he's like, it's not this, it's not that, because they're out in the woods all the time, you know. And he's like, nothing here has that kind of lung capacity.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's like if out there in Uwharrie, the biggest animal is either a human or a deer, whichever one ate more cheeseburgers that day.
Right.
That's it. So when you hear something that's like a T-Rex roar, it's hard to really. It's what could it be? You know, it kind of like it narrows down the options of what it could be, and it kind of blows my mind sometimes when people hear stuff where I'm like, well, what do you think that is, or what's making that sound like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you know when it's something that's not that pitch or volume, you know, you can go, okay, was that a fox? You know, I mean, some of those that make some of the weird sounds. I mean, good Lord, I've heard coons fighting that you would be like, what was that? You know, but when you get that, just that intense scream or whoop or whatever it is that makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, you know, you're dealing with something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael, we're coming up on our hour, and I appreciate you so much for coming and spending, you know, your time with us this evening.
Thanks for having me. This has been wonderful. Yeah, I'm sorry about being a little bit late. It was kind of a mad dash because of time zones and everything.
Nope, you're fine. You're fine. It's no problem whatsoever. I'm just glad that we were able to do it and spend the time with you. And you sound like you've just got all kinds of things going on, and your life is just incredibly interesting right now.
We didn't even talk about that. I live in a school bus, and we didn't even get into that yet.
Didn't even get into all that stuff. Well, hey, you know, you'll have to come back and tell us more.
Certainly. I really enjoyed myself here. And yeah, I am starting a channel. It's called Strange Backcountry. There's a few things on it now, but once I'm kind of getting settled down with all these projects, I'll be working on that. But yeah, I live in a school bus and I travel around. It's souped up for hunting Bigfoot and other mysteries. So it should be a good time.
That's perfect.
Perfectly normal things for a 40-year-old man to be doing.
Right. Hey, if it makes you happy, it's perfect.
Right on. I like to hear that thing.
Absolutely. That's kind of where I've gotten to in life. If it makes you happy, then it's perfect for you.
That's a good philosophy right there.
Well, like I said, Michael, thank you so much. And I hope you'll come back and see us in the future.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. All right. So with that being said, tribe, that was incredibly interesting. So if you haven't went on and liked and shared and subscribed, please do it. It helps us keep the boots on the ground and grow the tribe. So that's the end of this episode. I hope you all have a wonderful evening and come back next week to see us again.